Hello, good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to Business Live with me, Pious Kojo Backah. In the next 30 minutes, industries agree to pay full charge for residual fuel to enable sustainable supply without any government subsidy.
For them now, like I said, we've also engaged AGI. We have been torn between availability and of the product, which is RFO, or they going for the alternative, which is diesel. Diesel is more expensive. So we have agreed that let's take off the subsidy for now, let them have the product available.
Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA hints of shortage of goods ahead of the festive season, citing high cost of imports.
People are keeping their money because if you import, you can't sell and break even or even maximize. So the impact is what we are going to see in the shortest possible time. We are going to see shortage of goods because people are not importing. They prefer to keep their money in the treasury bill.
Plus, soya beans processors warn prices of cooking oil will continue to surge as Indians take over the industry exporting all raw soya beans produced in the country.
The whole thing is that you need to put in capital to be able to get the processing going. The capital injection is not there.
We've got details of these and many more in a moment. Please stay. Grateful for staying on to our very first story. Industries have agreed to pay full charge of residual fuel to enable sustainable supply without any government subsidy. This is a resolution agreed with the Association of Ghana Industries and the National Petroleum Authority after it emerged that the product was in short supply due to the inability of government to pay the subsidies on time. Here is Head of Economic Regulation at the National Petroleum Authority, Abbas Tasunti.
Price stabilization and recovery levy is supposed to be self-financing. As I said, the Energy Sector Levies Act says that this levy is supposed to be used to pay for subsidies on premix fuel and residual fuel oil. So what you generate is what you can use to subsidize. Now, I've explained that the prices on the world market have risen, exchange rate has risen significantly. As the prices and the exchange rate rise, it translates into price at the pump. So ideally, we should be passing these increments to the pump. But as you know, because these two products are subsidized, the increment is not passed on to the consumers, which is the premix fuel consumers and the residual fuel oil consumers. It has led to accumulation of debt, which is under recovery to be paid to the importers. Because of the inability of this fund to raise enough revenue to pay for the subsidy that has accrued, the suppliers of residual fuel oil have refused to sell the product. So the industry is not getting access to the RFO at all. Now, as a regulator, our focus is not only to ensure that the product is priced appropriately, we also have to ensure availability of the product. On non-payment of subsidies is causing a shortage of RFO on the market. And in fact, the industry has been struggling with this for the past 1 month, in fact, more than 1 month. Last week, we had companies coming to this building saying that we should do something for them to get their product. So the solution for them now, like I said, we've also engaged AGI. We have been torn between availability and of the product, which is RFO, or they going for the alternative, which is diesel. Diesel is more expensive. So we have agreed that let's take off the subsidy for now, let them have the product available, because the product is available, but the companies are refusing to sell because they will sell at a loss now if they should sell it. And therefore, for the past 2 weeks, the company that has imported RFO has not sold the product, even though it's in tank. So the focus now is to make sure that the product is available for the industry to have access to it, so the manufacturing of products can go on in the country.
Moving on to some other stories we have for you, the Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA has hinted that there is likely to be a shortage of goods during the festive season in December. Now, this, they believe, is as a result of the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. Speaking on Joy Business Social, the public relations officer of the association, Joseph Paddy, said businesses are reluctant to import due to the high cost of doing business in the country.
This moment that we find ourselves, where we are entering into Christmas, containers that are coming from the port is nothing to write home about. People are not importing, people are keeping their money because if you import, you can't sell and break even or even maximize. So the impact is what we are going to see in the shortest possible time. We are going to see shortage of goods because people are not importing. They prefer to keep their money in the treasury bills than rather to import and lose. Because seriously, you can't import at that country and even make profit. So they are not importing. I went to the port just yesterday, and it's an eyesore. No containers are coming out from the port. Even Golden Jubilee, where they clear almost about 120 containers per day, you go there now, it's just about 20 containers, 30 containers. So this
so are you saying we are likely to face a shortage of goods coming this Christmas?
Possible. Because Daniel's businesses are not, I have a friend who used to import used clothing into the country. And he said after investing £45,000, he made a profit of 1,000 Ghana cedis. So what is the point?
Wow.
So he's going to keep his money into treasury bill or fixed deposit. It's not going to import. And this man is a big-time importer with second-hand clothing. And most people and distributors depend on him. So just imagine the number of people that's going to cut off business. Because if he doesn't bring it, people cannot go and pick it up in this. Some go for 5 bills, 10 bills, and this man says, I'm not importing. So these are the difficulty. Because most Ghanaians are not importing. And if we are not careful, we're going to have a shortage of goods in the system. And as a result of that, we have high rise of prices, increase in prices of goods and services. That's what we see now. So people are trying to make sure they have stock so that what comes now, people are selling on the daily, as a result, on a daily basis, the prices are being calculated on a daily basis. They look at the workings of the dollar and they do their pricing. Because if you don't do that, you run out of business. Because just imagine, I was telling a friend, someone was just owing me just about $10,000. And I gave him that money at the rate of 6.2. And now he has to cough up about almost 13,000 to pay me. Where is he going to get that money from?
Joseph Tetepadi is the public relations officer of Guta speaking there. Now, soya beans processors are warning that prices of cooking oil will continue to surge if government continues to neglect the challenges of players in the industry. According to the processors, Ghana's soya beans are all exported to India to be processed into cooking oil and soya bean cake. Then the country imports those products at higher prices. Speaking on the marketplace, leading soya beans processor is also the convener of the Rice Millers Association, Yao Edupoku, said the government should inject more capital to support processors in order to cut down on costs.
Because we cannot, or we don't have a market for the cooking oil. The situation is that you need to bring the soy and process. Out of the process, you squeeze the crude oil, and the cake is given to the poultry industry. So it goes hand in hand. Vegetable oil goes hand in hand with poultry. Beautiful. And so before you can get poultry feed, you need the soy cake, which adds protein to the animal feed. And it's about 28% that you add to the volume. The rest is made up of maize. And then you put the chemicals into it. So without soy, the poultry industry will collapse. And that is what is happening currently. All the talk, all the hula has not addressed the main issue. And so we are just going round and round and round and round. And next year I'll come and sit here and say the same thing again. The whole thing is that you need to put in capital to be able to get the processing going. The capital injection is not there because all of us, one way or the other, fall foul of the financial institutions. Because the financial institutions, as they stand now, do not understand agriculture financing. And that's a fact. And so they give agriculture financing just like trading financing. So it never works. Agriculture financing should come from patient capital. And then you will nurse it and let it mature. So if you give a processor or a farmer money and you tell the processor or the farmer to pay every 30 days, it is a no-no, it won't work. And that is what has happened. And so all the soya industry took a nosedive because we could not get the equipment to process the soy. And soy is not like maize.
You're still watching Business Life with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Let's now pause for some break. When we return, we've got more for you. Please stay. Now, as part of its Broker Awareness Month campaign, the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana, that's IBAG, continues to educate the public on insurance, particularly on the role of insurance brokers and current developments in the insurance sector. Parliament in 2021 passed a new insurance law, the Insurance Act 2021, Act 1061. Now, there are some changes to the insurance industry occasioned by the new Act 1061. Today, we would like to discuss some of the major features that the public needs to know about this law. Joining me on Zoom for the discussion are lawyer Larry Kwesi Jage, who is also the Managing Director of Risk Management and Advisory Services Limited, and Dr. Kingsley Kwabason, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Insurers Association. Grateful, gentlemen, you could join me. Larry, let me start off with you. You are a lawyer and, of course, an insurance broker. With many years of experience, tell us about the new Insurance Act and why was it necessary to change the 2006 Act?
Thank you, and thank you to your listeners. The new Insurance Act became necessary or came about because Ghana needed to be compliant with international best practice. Insurance is one of those businesses that cut across boundaries.
Hello, Larry.
Yeah.
All right.
A business accepted in Ghana may end up placed in Japan, the UK, or the USA. So it got to a stage there was the need for us to up our game and become more compliant with best practice, and also to ensure that the regulatory governance practices are up to scratch with what is accepted elsewhere. That basically was one of the reasons for the need to change the law. You will observe at 724, which is the previous law, really wasn't too old compared to other laws. You would know that it stayed only for a little over 20-something years. Other laws have been on our books for 50, 60 years. So the need for changing governance practices, the need for us to be compliant with international best practice as far as regulation or regulations are concerned, inform the change in the law, a complete change in the law. Other reasons would include the need to catch up with new developments in technology. There's a lot of deployment of insurance products through technology. There are a lot of products now sold online. Previously, our OAT at 729 had very little provision to regulate such practices. And finally, there is the need for us to make certain insurance products compulsory. Liability insurance, I'm sure you have had or you would have taken note of the collapse of buildings in the past in Ghana. That, and among others, necessitated the need for us to change the law completely.
All right. So, Kingsley, let me find this from you. How has this law impacted on your members?
Well, thank you for having me. It has impacted in a number of ways. First and foremost, the biggest challenge we face is the perennial mantra of low insurance penetration. So, if you look at the provisions that are the law, it has made for financial inclusion, that's the involvement of the informal sector, which constitutes about 8% of our workforce, to be part of the insurance process. And if you juxtapose that against a situation where we only focus on the formal sector, it was a big challenge. But the law, flexibility that the law provided, we're able to keep in those in the informal sector. And if you look at that, in addition to the fact that it allows for innovation, including the use of technology, it is a task force. Let me also say that there were certain practices that had been in the form of directives, but which have now been legislated upon, what we call the no premium, no cover. It increased the liquidity of the market in the sense that we will not sell our insurance product on. There should be evidence that you have actually paid for the premium that you are required. But let me say that the flip side is that the penalty regime is a bit stiffer. And for us as members of the GIA, we have taken steps to embark on self-regulation. We think that if we regulate ourselves, even the need for the regulator to come with a big rod will be a bit minimal. So we have made it possible for policyholders to file complaints with us, not necessarily going to the regulator, so that issues that we can basically resolve. We have what we call the Complaint Management and Advice Bureau. You can just walk in with your problems and then we can find solutions. I can assure you that about 90% of the issues are resolved at that level. So it has the law has both stiffer punishment base and then let's say if you like the rod and the stake and the effect. So that's been that so far.
Great education there. Now, Larry, let me find out quickly from you in a minute. I know brokers are advocates of the insured. Are there areas in the new law you would want consumers to insurance or to take insurance of or take note of that?
Yeah, the significant one is what Kingsley just mentioned. Insurance is no more sold on credit in Ghana. The penalty is stiff, both for the insurance company and the broker. If, for example, you are in the cover for which premium was not paid, the penalty is 10 times the premium. And everybody, including brokers, we will do everything to avoid that. In addition, some insurances have not been made compulsory.
Okay.
I mentioned that liability policies are now compulsory, about 3 different ones, in addition to the prior ones, such as motor, and then the workmen compensation, which is regulated by some other law. So there are 3 new compulsory insurances that the insuring public need to take note of. Among them is the public liability, professional indemnity, and that covers all professionals in the country. And the third one, it has just escaped me. But these are the 3 that you must take note of as an insurer or as part of the insuring public.
All right. Thank you very much, Larry, for your inputs there. Grateful gentlemen, we would love to end the conversation here. And of course, we'll continue the discussion in our subsequent bulletins. You're still watching Business Live with me, Pious Kojo Backah. All right, so we'll pretty soon get more insight on the awareness creation about insurance. All right, so that's how we wrap up the bulletin for tonight. It's been Business Live. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Always a pleasure serving you. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business.